So this next video might be a little bit shorter because it's not going to be super we'll see. I don't know. I go on a lot of tangents and then they end up being a lot longer than I anticipated. This is number 4 of the series. So if you haven't watched any of the other videos, go back and watch them because a lot of this stuff isn't going to make sense. You do have to kind of watch it in chronological order. Again, sorry if you hear noises. I'm outside. So number 4 is the formation of souls / soul contracts. So basically, there's been multiple cycles to Earth. Many cycles. As you can see, I think it goes along with the zodiac. It's the 2,000 year thing. Now, it's so crazy because before I talked to my friend yesterday, a shout out to Amanda. You've answered. Let's see. I always say that God speaks through people, and I just met Amanda on my TikTok platform, and then we connected yesterday, and she answered so many questions for me. So many questions. And now I'm like going back to it because before I talked to Amanda, they were telling me like a cycle of Earth was 26,000 years, but now they're saying she was correct, and it's every like 2,100 years. It follows the zodiac, so it's like when we're in each age, that's technically another cycle of Earth. And so I'm not exactly sure what cycle and where we're at with all that. I hope an astrologer sees this and then makes a follow-up video to like kind of explain the astrological like parts of this, because astrology is not my gift. My gift is like telling a story, basically storytelling, and yeah, psychic abilities, but I do not have the astrology part down. So there's been multiple cycles of Earth, and there's been multiple cycles of human souls that have ascended off of Earth. The thing about it though is, and that's why when I talked about my last video that indigenous people were the closest group of people to ascend off of Earth that were 100% human souls, every cycle before that they did infuse them with alien souls. They infused them with, and it wasn't like a lot they're saying. So like here right now, the 40%, we're infused with like, it depends. It just depends. Like, so they've shown me I'm like 40% alien, 60% human soul. And back in the day, they would have like, I don't know, people would be like 10% human, 90% alien, or they would be 10% alien, 90% human. They did a bunch of experiments to kind of see like, which one is the best one or whatever. And after the Native American genocide, when it skewed Earth negatively, they were like, all right, fuck this. We saw that indigenous people who were 100% human souls were so close to getting to ascension. So we now know that 100% human souls are capable of ascension, especially in a group, because they were going to ascend. They were literally, if the white colonizers did not come over and fuck shit up, then indigenous people were like, I don't know, maybe 50 years, give or take, off of ascension themselves, which was going to be huge. Oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps right now. You see that? Which was going to be huge because there had never been a whole group of 100% human souls that were going, that got close to ascending. Every other ascension group was either infused with alien souls or they had the assistance of aliens. Now, I was talking to my friend Amanda yesterday, and she said something along the lines of like, she thinks indigenous people were helped by aliens, and she's correct, but it's like previous generations were helped, not that specific generation that got taken out in the whenever that time was when the colonizers came over. That generation was the first generation of 100% human souls. Now, generations before that had alien souls infused into them, or they had help of actual aliens. But the beautiful thing about this last group that got taken out was that they did not have any alien souls infused within them. They had remnants of it, because when your soul reincarnates, you have obviously the memory of your other souls, but they were 100% human souls. And so that's what was so special about them. Because God wanted to see if humans could ascend on their own. And indigenous people proved that enough that they were like, okay, fuck this, we're not gonna let anybody fucking, now we have to figure out what we're gonna do, because now they've been taken out, damn it. The people that were gonna ascend got freaking taken out. And so that's why God is so upset and sad about, I mean, they all are. They were like, we really didn't think that was going to happen. We really thought that the white people were going to come over here and get kind of like fixed. And then they didn't. And then they actually made things 10 times worse. And so that's why they're going to come this year and help us, because they're like, bro, we're so sorry. We fucked this shit up. Like, this was a grand experiment. We're so sorry that it went so negative. And now you guys are all trapped in this matrix system. And there's too much negativity and manipulation. And they've never interfered like this. You're really not supposed to interfere with free will. It's a huge no-no in universal laws. But, and I'm going to get to that. Maybe I'll get to that, because I didn't even write that down. Oh no, I am going to get to that in this video. Hold on, let me write this down really quick. I am going to get to that in this video. What happened after the indigenous people. So, there's been multiple cycles. So I don't know if you guys heard about Atlantis. Dolores Cannon talks about it too. But they were doing bad experiments. And they kind of got like put in a timeout situation. They were put into a different... So, like, there's 12 densities, which is also known as, like, 12 different parallel realities here on Earth. But there's multiple realities. So, most of us live within these 12 densities, these 12 realities. But 5% they're saying about live in completely different parallel realities. They don't even exist in the same reality as us. And there's, like, thousands upon thousands of different parallel realities that are going on simultaneous. Like, so like if you have a thought, so like they're telling me like flat earth, like there is a reality where flat earth exists. There is a reality where dinosaurs still exist. There is a reality, you know, with all these things. And that's probably why we're going, once we get into New Earth, like we're going to be in a different reality, while some soul contracts have signed to stay on this reality right now. So, with the formation of souls, we're going to talk about how they were formed. So, I kind of talked about a little bit how the aliens would infuse their DNA with people. Sometimes they would just assist people here. That's like the Mayans. I don't know if you guys, obviously, I think everybody's heard about the Mayans. But they ascended successfully off of the planet. There's been multiple, civilizations that have successfully ascended off of Earth. And that's what we're here to do. Earth is a big experiment to see who can ascend into a different dimension and different reality, because it's really difficult to ascend off of Earth because of the karma here, because of the animals, and you know, obviously the humans now. And like, again, humans are infused with alien DNA, but our souls are different. So like an alien soul is different than a human soul. A human soul is closer to like a hominid soul, and then an alien soul is like an ascended hominid soul, essentially, is what they're telling me, because time is simultaneous up there. So again, that gets a little confusing. I've just gotten the concept of time is simultaneous. For a long time I couldn't understand that concept at all. I'm like, I don't fucking understand what the hell you guys are saying. So that's why it's cool, because we see like pyramids and stuff. It's like, because we've gotten so far away from using pyramids, it's like we're starting to, like, because time is simultaneous, it's like we're starting to go back to the time when we use pyramids, essentially. So like in New Earth, we're going to be using pyramids and crystals and all this stuff like Atlantis did. But Atlantis got in trouble because they started doing stuff that we're doing right now, and they got stopped because they were about to like implode the planet, essentially. Now Atlantis wasn't necessarily like negative, but they're saying like at the time of Atlantis, like Earth was 35% negative. And so once you get past like 10% negativity here on Earth, it really starts to skew the new souls here. The old souls are very grounded, they're rooted, they've had a lot of experience here on Earth already. And so there is the reincarnation process. And so I did a past life regression, which you can see on my TikTok, with Brian Weiss, and one of the first lives they showed me was me as like a medicine woman in some indigenous culture somewhere. And then they showed me that my first soul cycle life here in this cycle of Earth was in Egypt. So I'm like, well, how the heck was I a medicine woman? Because you would think that would be my last life, because I was like this medicine woman that was revered by my community, and I had this like beautiful life and death, and you only get to that point if you're like an old soul. And they were saying, we literally, when you did that past life regression with Brian Weiss, you regressed to a different cycle of your soul. So that wasn't on this cycle of Earth, that was on a few cycles ago. So like my soul is imprinted with different cycles of humans, and that's the first time that they've done that. They've imprinted the souls here, especially the alien souls. They basically made it foolproof is what they're saying. So like they usually like with, now that doesn't make sense. No, they're saying, okay, hold on, give me a second here. Oh, interesting. Okay. So they're saying with each cycle, it creates, most people come in as new souls with each cycle, and they drop in new souls like here and there, especially like prophet souls. Those are the ones that they drop in at different times. But with prophet souls, they like will imprint your soul with the remnants of like an ascended master, or like a very strong medicine woman, or a teacher, or somebody who like led in the past cycles of Earth, because they can't just put a new soul here without any type of imprint, because they will absolutely go off their rockers is what they're saying. And they do that to try to ensure that you'll become a prophet, but again, it doesn't always work because the density is so negative here, so it skews people into a negative density even, you know. So, and that's what I'm about to get into, is Hitler. So Hitler was supposed to be a prophet. Like I said, all dictators are meant to be prophets. That's actually their soul contract. But because of the experiments that they've done with the childhood trauma, seeing like how much trauma they could put the new soul through before it, you know, kind of snaps essentially. And like the thing is that it's an experiment, but they also like really believe that these things are gonna go good. Like they don't put people here thinking it's gonna go bad, and then people make a bunch of bad free will choices. And that's why we are in the way that we are. And people make bad free will choices because A, they don't have a lot of experience in their soul, and B, because the Earth is skewed negatively. And so that's why that's why the dictatorships of today have really like boggled their minds, because like in past cycles of Earth, there was not this dictatorshipness. Now they're saying with Atlantis is kind of when it started, but they were saying Earth was like 35% negativity at that time. And so that's when they started to see that the negativity was skewing these new souls into like poor decisions, because Atlantis started doing experiments with animals, and the Collider experiments, which is so crazy because I was raised in Batavia, Illinois. Fermilab, if you know, you know, and there's a reason for that, because they were doing Collider experiments there too, and I didn't even know it. And also they were saying that Fermilab is highly protected. I actually made a video on this on my TikTok, the Fermilab bubble, and it's true. Like they can manipulate the weather and stuff to not touch Fermilab, because it's like, so yeah, I'm telling you guys, like there is advanced technology on this planet that we know nothing about. There's stuff that our government can do that is like thousands of years past what we believe they could do. It's fucked up. And the aliens are going to reveal all this, just so you know. Like, that's the thing about this, too. That's why they want me to start making YouTube videos, because they're like, your information needs to be here when the aliens come, so people can start, you know, like, understanding and grasping this concept. But there's even stuff that they're not going to tell me that the aliens are going to reveal themselves. So I can't fucking wait for that. I am like, what they've already told me is incredible, and it makes so much sense, and it pieces so many things together. So I can't wait to see what the additional information that they bring. So, with Hitler, he was a new soul. He was on the prophet, you know, timeline. And Earth was skewed. Let's see, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not good with... I think Hitler's time was the atomic bomb time, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was. It coincides with that. And so, or it was around the same time. So basically what happened was Hitler had too much childhood trauma, and he... Earth was skewed negatively. So they're saying like Hitler's time, like Earth was skewed like 56% negativity or something like that, right? Because when the indigenous people were genocide, that that officially skewed Earth into a majority negative density, 51%, 52%, after the indigenous people were taken out. Because it was such a big thing that it literally, like, that was the breaking point. That's when we went negative. That's when everything went to shit, is what they're saying. So by Hitler's time, because Earth was skewed already negatively, it was gonna skew any new soul that was on a prophet timeline. That's 100% human soul, of course, because now it's like we have prophets, like alien prophets and stuff like that, alien human soul hybrid prophets that are not going to be skewed negatively because they have the alien souls within them. So he was 100% human soul, and I've talked about Elon Musk being 100% a human soul, and that's why he's going fucking nuts right now as well, because he's 100% human soul. But the difference between Elon Musk and Hitler is that Hitler was not contracted to go negative, and actually Elon Musk was contracted to go negative. And I'm gonna get into that at some point. I don't know, I better write that down as well. Talk about Elon Musk at some point. I am gonna talk about him. Because his soul contract is a little different, and there's a reason for it, which is, you know, people are like, what? Why would they? What? I know, it's like a whole thing. So that's why Hitler, you know, his impact was so big. He was actually here, his prophet timeline was here to help the Jewish people. That's why he ended up hurting them, because part of his soul contract was supposed to be a prophet and help Jewish people ascend. And so since he was skewed negatively in all these things, he ended up going the other way with Jewish people. So do you know, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, if a prophet soul is meant to help a group of people, if that soul goes negative because of free will choice and all that stuff, then they'll end up hurting that group of people. And so that is why he ended up hurting Jewish people specifically, is what I'm being told, because he was actually meant to help them, but because it was so skewed negative, the density was already majority negative, and he had a lot of childhood trauma, it just set him up to make a bunch of really poor free will choices. And so this is where the atomic bomb comes in. So Hitler did his whole, you know, situation with the Jewish people, and that skewed the Earth even more negative. And then the atomic bomb was dropped, and those are the type of experiments that got Atlantis kicked off fucking Earth, or onto a different timeline, basically. Once Atlantis did that, they immediately intervened. They were like, nope, absolutely not, because nuclear war and even splitting the atom like that causes ripple effects throughout the universe. So it's like the biggest no-no. Besides interfering with free will, atomic shit is like the next thing that they're like, abso-fucking-lutely not, we're not dealing with that. It's going to like literally cause so many issues throughout the universe. I don't know why specifically. I think it's because you're fucking with God's creation. God created, you know, like that's why we have the atom, and that's why it's called Adam, and it's all, you know, connected with the Bible. The atom is, you know, the particle. It's like, it's not the smallest particle, because now they've, you know, squished it to whatever. I think they've gotten to what they call the God particle, or whatever the hell they call them, squiggles or quiggles, or whatever the hell they call the fucking smaller particles. But and that's what Fermilab was doing. They were smushing these particles together and and trying to make it anyway. So when the atomic bomb was dropped, or created, is what they're saying, just created, that's when the Galactic Federation came together and was like, what the hell are we gonna do? This shit has gotten way too far. We can't interfere with free will though, so what are we gonna do? And the Galactic Federation at that point was considering ending us as a civilization, just like with Atlantis. They were like, we might have to take these bitches off this shit because it's just gotten too negative. But there was a group of people in there, in that Galactic Federation, that were like, no, there's been way too much soul growth that has happened for us to just take these people out. So that is why they infused human souls with the starseed and alien souls. That's how that happened, because they were like, okay, well, the indigenous people proved to us that 100% human souls could ascend. So we already know that that experiment was going to go the way that it was going to go. They could see that timeline play out, because there's multiple densities and timelines that play out based on free will choices. And that's why, I don't know if you guys have heard of the 4 a.m. club, but that's like a whole group on TikTok, and there's 3 like psychics that lead that, and they actually had a very accurate they had an accurate reading of where the election was supposed to go, but because of interference and negative free will choices, it didn't go that way. And they're saying that was fated, of course, because like either way, so there was 2 different timelines that we would have gone on, but eventually it would have led to a negative timeline anyway. So like even if Kamala Harris won, like we still would have ended up with a Trump-like timeline, because we had to get so negative before we got positive, essentially. And that's why Dolores Cannon was getting the 2030 was going to be ascension, and now it's 2025. So timelines can speed up, they can slow down, and it's all based on free will choices. And that's, again, with the 4 a.m. club, because they were picking up on the correct timeline, but then a free will choice interfered with that. And so they were like, should we off these people, or should we interfere? But they couldn't interfere directly. Now they are going to interfere directly now. At that time, like, they were like, it would just be too scary for people. It would be too scary if they came down and all this stuff. Like, they can't just like have aliens show up in like the 60s, basically, or the 50s. And that's why UFOs and like that type of stuff started to really pick up after the 50s, is because aliens were like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna infuse 40% of the new generation with alien souls to help people ascend. We're gonna ensure ascension. So they did everything that they possibly could to do that without completely interfering with our free will, until the time came that they would interfere with our free will, so we can go and ascend, because it's so manipulated and the density is so low here that they had to do something, and this is what they chose. So there was the first wave of volunteers, which is what Dolores Cannon talks about, and they I literally said this is gonna be a short video. Now this might be my longest video. This is how it goes, guys. There was the first wave of volunteers that came in, and I was talking to my friend Amanda, and her mom, I've never met a first wave volunteer. I've never even heard of a first wave volunteer. I heard about them through Dolores Cannon, but I've never like seen evidence of one or anything like that. And Amanda's mom was a first wave volunteer, and so that's been incredible. I will link her her mom had like these blogs and all this stuff about the way that we're supposed to be living, and when I read it, I was like, oh, she's a first wave volunteer. No fucking way. This is so cool. That God, you know, and the universe led me to Amanda, and then Amanda's mom she was evidence that first wave volunteers were here. So I can't give you the exact timelines. I'm not sure when Amanda's mom was born, but whenever it was, like immediately after the atomic bomb, they started to like infuse people with these alien souls, and then have them be born and start putting this stuff into the collective subconscious. So that is why, you know, Amanda's mom was not successful at the time. It's not that she wasn't successful, it's just that like her job was to just start to get it into the collective subconscious and show people how to live. And then when the time came, we were going to use that information. And so this stuff has been going on since like what, the 50s, 60s, 70s-ish. Whenever that time is. Probably like 50s, I want to say. Right after the atomic bomb, they started to infuse people with the alien souls, and then they started all of this. And now I'm being told we're on the 3rd wave. We're on the 3rd wave of volunteers right now. That's what I'm considered. That's what Amanda would be considered. But then there's even a wave after that, and that's what they're telling me who I thought my twin flame was. Who is my twin flame, but we're not going to be able to do our journey this lifetime around, unless he like really steps up in it. Nah, even that, because they're telling me he's 4th wave. He's 4th wave volunteer, so he's starting to wake up, but he's not quite awake yet. So if you are starting to wake up and you're not quite awake, you're a 4th wave volunteer. Me, I am a third wave. Now, Dolores Cannon, I think she only had 3 waves, but there's actually 6 waves of volunteers. So that's where we're at with the waves, if you guys know anything about that. So that's what they did. They decided to infuse people with alien souls, and the majority of people, or close to the majority of people. So they're all over the world. They're not just here in America. They are in New Zealand, they're in Thailand, they're in China, they're all over the world. They're going to help the whole world ascend. So, and that's why we have a lot of neurodivergent people right now, because neurodivergent people are the alien souls. And there's people who aren't neurodivergent as well. No, they're saying if you're neurodivergent, you are definitely an alien soul. So, there you go. And the neurotypical people are the human souls. And that would make sense. Because I would say, yeah, about like, I don't know if it's quite 40%. Well, they're saying it's 40% around the whole world. So I'm like, there's not 40% of people neurodivergent here in America. They're saying that it's just the neurodivergence in America that are. So if you're neurodivergent, if you're autistic or you have ADHD, you need to start looking into ascension. And I'm sure your soul is already contracting you to go there. And if not, then, you will awaken. Don't worry. It's going to happen. And I've also been told that children right now, all children have the tools to help with ascension. So all children are going to make it to New Earth right now. All children. So you don't need to worry about the children. It's just the adults that need to make the free will choice to go to New Earth, which is going to be really tough, because I will say, like, here in my household, I have to do these videos when my parents are out of the house, because they're anchored in the 3D. They are part of the 60% that will make the free will choice. And so it's very difficult. I have not been able to talk about this stuff with my parents at all. And I'm sure there's a lot of you who can relate to that. So I think I'm going to end this here, because it's at almost 30 minutes. But yeah, that's the formation of souls. That's kind of what happened with the atomic bomb and all of that stuff. So again, if you have any questions, drop them below. I will try to answer them if I can, or whatever. And thank you for watching.